Hello, how are you now? My name is James Whelan, and you are listening to the Theory of Thing Investment Podcast, special edition that we've got here. Unfortunately, Heath Moss from HLM Investments could not make it, got caught up. We had to change the times. You can probably tell from the background here that I am in my hotel room in Melbourne. I'm about to check out, get on a plane and go back home to my family, who I miss very much. Crushed suits and damaged boots and everything that's happened. I've been on a road show for the last couple of days. We've done Sydney, we've done Brisbane, and then we've done down here at Melbourne, roadshowing a company called Impact Minerals. Now, full disclosure, we are mandated to represent them, to advise, and to present them to the market. So the conflict of interest is not really a conflict of interest, but it's clear that the Barclay Pearce Capital does have a partnership with Impact. And look, I had to get him on the podcast because we've been in each other's pockets now. It's really just the tales from the road have been fantastic. Mike, it's been a great trip. You're back in WA now, and that was it. But it's been a hell of a ride, mate. Any highlights from the presentation, the roadshow that we've done?
Yeah, no, thanks, James. And it was a great 3-4 days. I've lost track, really, and met plenty of investors across the 3 cities that you mentioned. It's always great to have a room full of investors. And I can tell you, it's good to have a lot of interest back in the stock after, let's face it, a few years in the wilderness up until last year when we got our Lake Hope High Purity Alumina projects here in WA. And that's really what's kick-started the interest. Yeah,
well, I've got the presentation up here. Unfortunately, what a coincidence that we've got that here. I'm gonna get to it. Do you want to sort of pick out the salient points? First off, I mean, everyone gets the same question: what do you do and how do you make money? Or let's just start with what do you do, and then we'll worry about how you make money maybe later on in the year.
Indeed, yeah. So I'm obviously Dr. Mike Jones. I'm the managing director of Impact Minerals Limited, listed on the ASX under code IPT, and I'm a founding director of the company and been running it since 2006. And we believe now that we're on the road to production with our projects here. And that's hopefully how we're going to make money.
No, good enough. Okay, so I'm just sort of flicking through the investment highlights. Let's just get there is a few areas that you've got of different assets, but I think that the crown jewel, the flagship, is going to be Lake Hope. Do you want to run us through? First off, talk us through High Purity Alumina. What it does, what's important. Is it the shortage of it? I still believe we're in a commodity super cycle. I've got no problem with that. And where does HPA, the High Purity Alumina, fit into that?
Yeah, look, HPA, it's a bit of a niche mineral, but it's aluminium oxide, Al2O3. People have probably heard that companies like Alcoa and Alumina actually make aluminum oxide, but then they convert into aluminium metal. What we're going to do is produce very high purity alumina. Another name for it is corundum, one of the hardest minerals known to man, and also sapphire. So it occurs in many forms, but if you can get it in its purest form, it's a very high value. And the 2 main uses for it in the energy transition are that it acts as a separator between the anode and the cathode in lithium-ion batteries and other battery architectures. Everyone knows that batteries heat up with their chemistry, but if the temperature gets too high, you basically get thermal runaway and the batteries explode. So we all recall the Samsung phones exploding a few years ago, and also the Tesla batteries that catch on fire. So HPA, when it's made properly, does its job, stops that happening. The second one, the largest market, is actually LEDs, so light emitting diodes. So most of the light globes that are going in globally have high purity alumina in them, but it's also being increasingly used in smart screens. So your OLEDs, your ULEDs, your micro LEDs that are on your smart screens, Samsung, LG, etc., and increasingly now on your mobile devices. We're seeing micro LEDs come in there. That's a huge growth market. And so around about 2026, as we probably reduce reliance on China for some of the supply, we're expecting an increase in price. So it's an exciting place to be in over the next decade.
Yeah, no worries at all. Now, the chart that I've got up here is a good one. Actually borrowed from the good people over at Alpha HPA. Listed company, stock code is, what is it? It's been a long week, mate.
Yeah, A4N.
A4N, that's right. Yeah, so that's Alpha. That's effectively Alpha is sort of more progressed in the production stage, about 4 years sort of in advance. But this is showing that there is a supply deficit pending within the next 18 months, effectively. It's been a fairly accurate chart as well. We're going to continue, rush for time, and I've got someone buzzing me telling me that that we've got an Uber waiting for us downstairs, mate. The life on the road is fantastic. Yeah, so 4N. Now let's go through the 4N HPA. The
Yep.
4N stand for.
So this table here shows the pricing for 4N. 4N stands for purity, and it's 99.99% pure, hence 4 nines. And look, currently trading between 15 and 25,000 US dollars a ton. We believe that we can produce it for probably less than 4,000 US dollars a ton. And so you can see there's a business there which might have very significant margins, and that's one of the reasons we chose to get into the business and develop the project.
Okay. Now here is the project.
Indeed, we're about 500 k's east of Perth, and in the top 2 meters of these 2 salt lakes, and I'm sure you've all driven past salt lakes, and the scale here is about probably 4 kilometers from left to right in through there. In the top 2 meters of those 2 grey lakes there is something in the order of 20 billion US dollars worth of high purity alumina. It's quite an extraordinary deposit. I've been a geologist for a long time, and this is a very unique project on a global scale. And it's going to be very easy to mine, straightforward to process, and really it's just about a race to get to the product to market over the next few years.
Okay, and that's where it would be.
That's where we are.
Going
We're in the middle of nowhere. We've already got very good responses from our environmental baseline surveys, and also we have heritage clearance from the Naju peoples who are based in Norseman, and so those are 2 major impediments that are ticked off to us putting in our mining lease application, and we hope to get the approvals for that mining lease through in a very short period of time.
Got it. Yep. Now, here's the actual lake.
Indeed, this is Roland Goddard. He discovered the deposit. That's a very interesting story in itself. But I wanted to point out that this is actually how we drilled out the deposit, with a rubber mallet and a push tube. And amazingly enough, we drilled out 20 billion US dollars worth of high purity alumina for a total of 60,000 Australian dollars, including assays. So it is the best return on a drill program you're ever going to see. We've got about at least 80 years mine life in those 2 lakes, at least. At an average benchmark production rate of about 10,000 tonnes per annum. So it really is a truly unique thing. We talked about the Naju, very supportive of mining. They have a royalty ready from the Sirius discovery at Nova Bollinger, now with the IGO.
Okay. Yep, that's good. What have we got here? Yes, this is good. This is showing just how much easier it's going to be for you to get this.
That's right. Look, this is the map of the high grade. The pink is the highest grade alumina. We're basically just going to come in off the side of the lake with a digger. We're going to stockpile 3 years of production on the side of the lake there, and we're going to truck it off site. And that's really important because it means there's no on-site crushing, grinding, blasting, drilling. We don't need power. We don't need water. And we're going to leave an environmental footprint that's about a hole in the ground that's a metre deep. It truly is a remarkable deposit. And again, one of the reasons that we think we'll get the approvals through relatively quickly.
Good. Now, this is my favourite chart of the whole thing, and this is I think when I first met you all that time ago, this is the one that jumped out at me more than anything else.
Yeah, look, when you're in a space like high purity alumina, it really does come down to what's the cost of production. It is a cost-intensive process, but we believe from the scoping study we produced in November last year that we can be one of, if not the cheapest producer globally. That's around the entire world by between 30 and 50%. And it's hard to describe when you're in a space like a bulk commodity, like HPA, like lithium, that if you are the lowest cost producer, you'll get through the mining cycle, you'll be in the business for a long period of time, and you'll be able to actually, most importantly, make an entry into the marketplace, which is actually currently dominated by the Chinese and the Japanese, shown on the right-hand side of that graph. They have very high input costs because they make their high purity alumina actually directly out of an aluminium metal, which has already been mined and processed. It's environmentally unfriendly, cost them a fortune, and we believe that we can undercut those and other players in the space by a significant margin. And that's reflected here in the scoping study. Look, the NPV, that's the key one there. It's about 1.3 billion Australian dollars. It's got a great capital efficiency. The capex is probably 250 million Australian, and as a result, of course, we get great IRR, especially with those margins. And we've been very conservative in the scoping study in the price that we've used for HPA. We believe it could go up at least 15-20% from the prices that we've used, and also in the Australian to US dollar conversion rate. So there's plenty of scope for those numbers to increase as we complete the pre-feasibility study, well underway now, and certainly on schedule for completion by the end of the year. So
Now, this is a new one that we've thrown in. This is the comparison to Alpha.
Yep.
Like I said, sort of a more advanced. No, I'll let you speak.
Yeah.
What do I do?
So look, about 4 years ago, Alpha HPA was a junior explorer called Colorina Cobalt, I think it was. They came across a new process to produce HPA, and over the following 4 years, they showed that A, the process worked, and B, they found customers, and they've really been hitting it out of the park. All congratulations to them. And their market cap in that time went from something in the order of $10 to $20 million up to $1 billion as it is today. And so we really believe that we can hit those lofty heights as we get our project into production over the next 2 to 3 years. And it's all in this roadmap here. So we had a fantastic year last year. We only had the project 30 months. We've actually leapfrogged virtually all of the other players in the HPA space. And that's because it is difficult to make HPA, but we have this fantastic deposit, which is easy to mine, easy to process, and that's allowing us to catch up the other competitors. So this year is all about completing the pre-feasibility study. That's on schedule for the end of the year. And also, very importantly, getting HPA into the hands of our clients to get the feedback to produce the products that we want. And then hopefully 2025 and 2026, we'll be moving towards at least small-scale production, which is when we're expecting this supply deficit to emerge, and hopefully prices increasing even more.
Perfect timing. Now, there are other ones. We don't have time to go into them, but it's there are some fascinating other ones. It's just good to have a bit of more diversification through the portfolio.
It is indeed. Yeah. We'll have some drill results out sometime late May and early June, which people should keep their eye on for.
Excellent. And look, that's where the stock is currently there. Some big holders out of Germany as well. Some good big loyal holders out of Germany, which is fantastic. And not enough directors holding, if you ask me, Mike. I think we might have to fix that.
Well, that's true. We have got very good performance rights. They are for real targets like grant of a mining lease, successful completion of the PFS, and successful completion of the DFS. And we will move our way up the register through that. We've invested a lot of time and money in the company. I'm not going anywhere, and we believe that this is the one that's going to make the company.
Fantastic. Look, and those are the details. If anyone wants to contact us, although I probably won't leave that up there, but thank you very much. So, Mike, we've been on the road. It's been a hell of a thing. What any key takeaways? I mean, we've eaten like kings in 3 cities. Some amazing locations that
it was.
The guy who runs.
Yeah, you guys put on a great show. You certainly had the right people in the room in terms of their interest in the stock, and it was a great week. But no rest for the wicked, obviously, for either of us. We're back into the office today and push on through to the weekend.
Yeah, got to keep on going. Got to earn it. Earn the beers, mate. Well done. And it's been a fantastic trip this week. I look forward to working with you over the coming weeks and months on some exciting things that we've got coming up. If anyone wants to know more, please reach out to me. I'm available through 8,000 different types of social media platforms, email address, phone numbers, everything is there too. So, Mike, have yourself a great weekend.
Thanks so much, James. Yeah, you too.
No worries. Thanks very much. You have joined us for the Theory of Thing Investment Podcast, special edition. Heath, when you get back next week, we'll do a market wrap with you there. Thanks, everyone, and have yourself a safe and happy weekend.